"Oh, dear!" Belle heard a voice cry. Belle stopped in her tracks. She had been walking to the village square. As usual, her nose was buried in a book. The voice belonged to Belle's neighbor, Madame Dubois. "There's a wild animal on the loose," Madame Dubois exclaimed. "It ran through my yard and knocked down all my clean clothes. Just look at this mess." "My goodness," exclaimed Belle. "Did you see what it was?" Madame Dubois shook her head. "No, but I heard it crashing through my garden. It sounded enormous." After she helped Madame Dubois tidy up, Belle continued walking to the village. She kept a lookout for the creature, but she didn't see anything. Soon, she reached the bakery. "Good morning, Monsieur Le Pain," Belle said. "I'd like one apple pie, please." The baker wrung his hands. "I'm afraid I can't help you today," he replied. "Haven't you heard? There is a beast on the loose. It ate all of the pies I left out to cool this morning. This one was inside, but it's for Madame Dubois." Belle frowned. "That's terrible. I wonder what it could be." The baker shook his head. "I don't know. But a creature that hungry must be gigantic." A little while later, Monsieur Marchand told Belle about something overturning his fruit cart. "Did you see what it was?" Belle asked. "It ran away too quickly," Monsieur Marchand answered. "But a creature big enough to knock over this heavy cart must be ferocious." Belle thought for a moment. If it's so large, it's strange no one has seen it. She bought some apples so she could bake a pie and went on her way. As Belle started to head home, she saw Farmer Florent sitting on the edge of the town fountain. He looked very sad. "What's wrong?" Belle asked. "I am so worried," the old farmer said. "My little goat Babette is missing. I'm afraid that she might have been taken by the wild beast." Belle guessed. "Yes," he cried. "How did you know?" "Because everyone in town is talking about it," Belle said. "But no one seems to have seen it. It's very odd." Just then, Belle noticed a crowd had gathered in front of the village tavern. Curious, she walked over. In the center of the crowd was Gaston, the town bully. He was always bragging about his feats of daring and bravery. "There is a terrible monster on the loose," Gaston told the crowd. "Only a hero of great strength and smarts can stop it. Who among us is courageous enough to capture this creature?" "Gaston, of course," cheered Gaston's friend, Le Fou. Belle spoke up. "But no one has actually seen it," she said. "Are you sure there is really a monster?" "Oh, Belle, leave it to us, please." Gaston waved his hand. But Belle had a hunch there was something more to the story. So she decided to do some investigating. First, she examined one of the ruined pies at the bakery. Then she found a half-eaten pear under the fruit cart. Next, she checked Babette's pen. She walked around all the edges of the fence. Finally, she inspected the tracks in the mud by Madame Dubois's cottage. After she had gathered all her clues, Belle was convinced she knew exactly what was going on. Now she just had to prove it. Belle hurried home. She had an idea for the perfect way to catch the mysterious creature. In the village center, Gaston and Le Fou were also hard at work. The townspeople watched curiously as Gaston hammered and sawed an enormous contraption. "Behold my monstrous monster trap," Gaston announced when he and Le Fou had finished. "It is guaranteed to capture the sneakiest, most dangerous monster easily," Gaston boasted. He swung his hand back to point to it. "Wait, Gaston," cried Le Fou. "Don't." But it was too late. Gaston had accidentally hit the arm of the contraption, springing it. Meanwhile, Belle had returned and set up her own simple trap. She placed a fresh-baked apple pie and a small pan of white paint at the edge of the town square. Across the way, everyone went back to work while Gaston wiggled free from the net. He passed by Belle and laughed. "Oh, Belle, what good do you think a pie and some leftover paint will do to catch this wild beast?" Just then, there was a loud rustling in the bushes nearby. "The monster!" cried Gaston. He pulled a large club from his belt and jumped into the bushes. A moment later, he came back out, confused. There was no large creature there, he said, puzzled. Belle turned to look at her trap and gasped. The pie was gone. Something had snatched it while she was distracted. And there was a trail of white footprints on the ground, just as she had planned. "Let's see where they lead," Belle cried. The townspeople began to follow Belle as she tracked the footprints. They went to a small cave at the edge of the forest. Belle took a deep breath and went inside. "Be careful, my dear," called Madame Dubois. "Yes, it could be ferocious," added Monsieur Marchand. Soon Belle came out of the cave leading a small goat. It was still chewing some pie crust. "Babette!" cried Farmer Florent. He rushed forward to hug his missing goat. "Were you the monster all along?" Belle smiled. "I had a hunch the creature wasn't big when I saw the little bites taken out of the fruit and pies," she explained. "The tracks in the mud were tiny, too. And there was a hole under the gate to Babette's pen. I thought it was Babette causing the trouble." "How clever!" cried Monsieur Lapine. "Let's hear it for Belle." "Hooray!" cheered the crowd. "Lucky guess," Gaston muttered. "Don't worry, Gaston." Belle smiled. "Next time, you can make your trap less monstrous, and it can catch the little monsters, too." "That's not funny, Belle," said Gaston. But the crowd laughed and laughed, because actually, it was very funny indeed.